Newcastle County wants to sue the pharmaceutical industry over the opioid crisis, and the labor secretary says not getting the Amazon headquarters has a silver lining. This is the Delaware Way. Welcome to the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Menti. There have been many ways to fight the opioid crisis. So far, many ways have been ineffective. And now communities and states across the country are joining in a class action lawsuit against the pharmaceutical industry. Considering joining is Newcastle County, and joining me now is Matt Meyer, County Executive. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thank you.
Why are you considering now joining this lawsuit?
Well, opiate drugs have been marketed, distributed, and sold in Newcastle County in ways that are deceptive and dangerous to our residents. That has helped create and fuel an opiate epidemic in our county, in our state, and around the country. We believe that the companies that are marketing, distributing, and selling these opioids should be held accountable for that harm. We need to stop the dangerous marketing tactics right away. We need to recover costs that the county government has incurred, a load of first responder costs, and we need to hold the companies accountable, make sure it's clear that companies who are coming to our county, to our state, and to our country to do harmful things need to pay for that harm.
Well, you know that Newcastle County taxpayers are looking at this saying, I don't want to pay for this lawsuit. It's going to take years. The pharmaceutical industry is going to fight this tooth and nail. How much is it going to cost them?
Well, zero. It's a contingency. So the law firm will collect up to, the most they can collect is 25% of the settlement. It's a contingency arrangement. So it doesn't cost anything. If it goes on for years and years, the law firm needs to assume those costs.
Because every time I read about these lawsuits, especially the state lawsuits, and I'm going to get back to Delaware in a second, but especially the state lawsuits, it seems to me they keep calling it a class action lawsuit, that all these states are joining together to share some of the cost. If you now join that, and there's like 250 states and municipalities that are suing, don't you automatically get lumped in with them?
Yes and no. I mean, that gets into some of the, you can get a unique settlement and break away from the class. There are ways to do that. But as a general matter, yes. If you go in with the class, then you're a single plaintiff in that class. Much beyond that, I leave it to Motley Rice, our legal experts, to figure out the best strategy going forward. My instruction to them is that there's this terrible crisis. We, to date, in the first 6 weeks of this year, have administered life-saving Narcan to 114 patients, 114 times. Our first responders in the county paramedics, fire service, and police have gone out and administered Narcan, up from 103, up 10% from the first 6 weeks of last year. It's a crisis that's growing. I want to make sure we're doing everything we can to stop it, and I'm instructing the law firm, do whatever you can to stop these pharmaceutical companies to continue their harmful and deceptive market.
Have you been able to figure out the exact cost? I know it's difficult to do because there's deaths involved, and how do you put a price on deaths? But the exact cost in county services?
We're looking hard at that. It's certainly in the millions of dollars. We believe it's well above. We believe it's tens of millions of dollars. But that's one of the things we're working on with the law firm.
Why is it important for the county? If the state is already doing this, why is it important for the county to do it?
Well, the county has had its unique costs in terms of we have the second largest police force.
You don't get
in
the state money?
We don't necessarily get the state money. For example, in the mortgage fraud cases where the state got millions and millions of dollars, local governments saw very little of that. And we just want to make sure that the county taxpayer is protected. So that's why we're going at it alone for now.
And is that so? There's been counties and municipalities across the country that have joined in these lawsuits. So everybody wants to make certain they're not left out if there's a big settlement.
That's right. And just to make sure that we get the recovery that we've expended. If our county taxes are going up because we need to pay for additional paramedics to go out on the street, the taxpayers deserve to be compensated for that.
And I know I'm going to ask you another legal question now, and I apologize for it, but it has to do with cost, and I think taxpayers deserve to know this answer. If you go it alone, if you decide not to go into a class action lawsuit, wouldn't that necessarily mean you'd have higher costs you'd be paying the attorneys more, and I understand it's contingency, so that's what you're going to say, but there comes a certain point where it gets to be a Don Quixote thing, when you have this big lawsuit over here where the lawyers don't have to do that much work and they already have 25 clients, and then you have you alone going on your own.
There are pluses and minuses to joining with other jurisdictions. Cost to us is not one of them.
There's never going to be a cost.
There's an agreement with Motley Rice that they get a contingency up to 25%. That's true if we join with other jurisdictions. It's true if we don't join with other jurisdictions. Keep in mind, from their perspective, they have a lot of clients doing this, and so even if we don't join with others, I imagine a lot of the work is duplicative, so copy paste, legal complaints.
And so the decision comes down to how you would be able to get the most money for Newcastle County.
That's right, just the best interest. Well, it's also trying to stop the pharmaceutical companies from doing this, trying to disincentivize them. If you're a pharmaceutical company right now and you just look at the bottom line, hey, if I spend $10 billion marketing these opioids and I get a $100 billion return, I'm going to keep doing it, right? I'm going to keep spending that $10 billion to market these things. I get a $100 billion return, keep doing it until somebody comes along and sues me for saying, hey, this is wrong. You got to pay $100 billion for creating this harm.
Again, unless there's a settlement, this could be years before this makes it all the way through the courts. I'd like to come back and talk about what you're doing right now in the meantime to fight the opioid epidemic in Newcastle County when we continue our conversation with Matt Meyer, Newcastle County Executive, when we return with the Delaware Way.